Hi, everybody. This is day 968, right? 968 days since Richard vanished from the barracks there at Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas. And I was just looking at logging into Facebook and saw Hannah's post of my beautiful grandchildren. I have the most beautiful grandchildren. And that's why we're doing this. That's why we're doing this, because we love our children. And I know that that has been said by politicians over and over and over again, and they have betrayed us, because if they cared about our children, they would not allow this child sex trafficking. They would not allow the child porn industry to absolutely grow like crazy and exist without severe punishment, which we know that Richard just didn't disappear. Something happened. And at this point, we know what the possibility is screaming out, that he was murdered. And the day that I heard that he was missing, I told our son Robert, I said, Robert, your brother is missing. He's probably in a ditch dead somewhere. Um, because Richard was really good at contacting us, our 2 week law, our 2 week rule, family rule, and he hadn't contacted us. And I knew, because of other things that were happening. And what I didn't know is that the military knew. I knew that something stunk because Captain Yoshida was in tears talking to my husband. That was not normal. He was nervous. He was very nervous, very shaky. The same with Command Sergeant Major Jakovitz. Very shaky, very upset. You could read it all in his eyes. That's why I know that he is a pretty nice guy. At the end of the day, well, let's say at the beginning of the day, he was a nice guy until the military groomed him. He's an employee, and they groomed him to do very evil things. And they brought in girls during the COVID lockdown, and they knew what happened to Richard, and he did not brief Brigadier General David Stewart properly before our first meeting. He called for a meeting in the theater to tell the soldiers not to speak to us or the press. Why? If a soldier is missing and you think everything is Richard's fault or whatever, how they were trying to form the narrative at the time, you would think that they would want the soldiers to spit it out, right, and talk to everybody. But there's no esprit de corps. We found that out with Austin Hawke's case, that there was no esprit de corps. They all stood around in that barracks room listening to him getting slaughtered in his barracks room, and nobody came to his rescue. Nobody even called 911. Nobody even called the military police. And this next week is the sentencing of the CQ that was involved. Jordan Brown, he'll be sentenced this next week. In the next week. And for his part, let's see what he gets. He could get 3 to 20 years. But he was colluding with the murderer, Byron Booker, for the murder of Austin Hawke. And he was let in by the CQ. He was notified by the CQ. Everything was set up by the CQ. They were planning all of this. So this grooming, this allowing something like that to even be possible. You understand? This is then, I would say, in the case of Austin Hawke, they needed to go after the 4-star generals, 44 4-star generals and admirals that have groomed our military to death. Groom them to death. Groom them to suicide. Groom them to PTSD. Groom them for these sex cults. Groom them, And why do I say that? Because look at McConville. if McConville orders, Major General at the time, now she's a Lieutenant General, she was awarded a third star. Um, if he orders her to conduct a stage task force, find Richard Halliday of the very first CONUS Deaths 1 missing soldier in U.S. Army history under the brand new Vanessa Guillen absent soldier flowchart, because of finding a soldier beheaded, chopped up, bludgeoned to death, burnt, stuffed in a trunk, then removed, burnt, put into a foxhole, poured lime over, poured concrete over, poured dirt, so that no one would ever find her chopped up, bludgeoned, burnt body. And then, of course, Enrique being his hair pulled out, his eyes gouged out, his head removed. Then Austin Hawke, so many wounds to the head, stab wounds to the head, that when they went, there was blood everywhere. There's still blood there. I've been told there's still blood there. And when they went to go pick up his body after nobody did anything in the barracks there at Fort Stewart, his head, they had to hold on his head because his head fell off. So you have 3 beheadings, okay? And this happened April, May, June of 2020. Richard goes missing July 2020, and they're calling a fake task force, a stage task force with no op ward, no uniform, no leader, no urgency. This is happening November 9th. He goes missing 23rd July. They finally are pressured because of their failures to create a task force, find Richard Halliday, and then fake it. They fake it. They don't even wear a uniform. And it's all by General McConville. This is grooming, because everybody that was there knew. All right? And you have to understand that they knew all this before we even knew that Richard was missing, because Richard had made Child Protective Service complaints that triggered the IG being all over the barracks. This is absolutely not crazy for me to say. Richard had sex videos because they were airdropping. They airdrop all of these porn videos. Now, porn is not illegal, but child porn is. And he turned them in. And he's making complaints to the Child Protective Services. So they knew. And being, having the IG all over the barracks because of Halliday. And then, and we were even, we got this little tip. I don't know if it's true, that he had made reports to his command and they just blew him off. That's why he had to go over and above and outside his chain of command to the Child Protective Services to try to protect these children that were being abused. Okay? Trafficked, being raped and filmed in porn videos that were for marketing purposes to distribute and airdrop. So this is pretty sick. This is pretty sick. They've gotten bored with just porn. See, all porn is child sex trafficking. Okay, one begats the other. So, but they don't care. We have, and the other big proof of their not caring about children is Fort Bliss was housing the children, and they have 20,000. This is congressional record. 20,000 unaccounted children that they brought in, that they didn't even do a background or anything on these people. They handed the children over, and they have lost the children. They don't know where they're at. 20,000 of them. So don't tell me oh, well, that might cost a lot of money, whatever. They have billions, they have trillions. We are so in debt. They can give it to countries, blink of an eye, no vote in Congress, whatever. And yet children are coming over here as migrants, and they just give them to whoever and lose them, 20,000 of them. And and so Richard, I think, well, maybe he did know how big this was, and that's why he didn't tell us the whole story. He just said he couldn't leave. It's so bad. It's so bad. Absolutely. That's those are his words. It's so bad. And Hannah, don't you think we should have probably just stayed in Ireland? Which, I don't totally, yeah, that just tells me that things were bad. Okay. Things were bad when he wanted to get out of that unit, when he wanted to be redeployed, when he wanted to get out of the battery. He was even saying, just give me a different battery. Things were just so bad. Okay. And so, and we're being lied to. And as you know this, we have Tavita Nusa leaking Richard's file to Leilani Hart. Leilani Hart was active duty for 15 years. She served under Clem Coward. General Coward, Major General Clem Coward, he's retired now. He was the commander for both Dallas Hart, that's Leilani Hart's son, and Richard. The one thing about Fort Bliss is it is interesting that it is a very close-knit. When you see the leadership is like, oh, I'm home. It's pretty close-knit. It's ADA with other things, but we're talking about ADA in this case. Altogether different army. You can serve many, many years in ADA in one spot. So Rob was with ADA in Germany during the Gulf Wars. So I am familiar with ADA air defense, the Patriot missiles, and they're a close knit. They're pretty close knit, and Rob was a PA for ROB there in Rhine Ordnance Barracks near Ramstein, Germany, during the Gulf Wars, and he was deployed without his unit. He was attached to a different unit. So he was the only one deployed there at ROB for, I would say, 9 months. And when he got back, then the Patriot battery or Patriot brigade that he was with deployed, and he redeployed. So, for I believe it was over 18 months he was deployed. But I saw the difference between Rhine Ordnance Barracks, Ramstein, Kaiserslautern area before, when Rob was the only one deployed, and then when others were deployed. And, that was way back then. Things have changed. I understand. And so it is not, when I hear the stories that I hear, when I understand what was going on in Richard's on Fort Bliss, then I'm not, I would say I am shocked, because they've stooped so low to include the harming of children. And that's not me, y'all. Child sex trafficking is real. And El Paso is right there on the border. And this case is about child sex trafficking and about the child porn production. and marketing, distribution, airdropping, making money off of child porn. Okay? The harming of children, the grooming of children. No wonder Veronica Escobar, with the leadership in the military, with the other politicians, have avoided doing anything about this case, because it exposes it's huge money. If it's huge money, there's huge people involved. Now we're hearing today, matter of fact, I probably should have listed that. Let me see if I can list it. I should have done that. It's been a busy day. And I'm hearing that even the people at the highest levels of our government are involved in human trafficking. They're talking about it now openly. And no, I don't think I can find it real quick, but I'll do it for tomorrow. And it is, I want to go back to the maps today because I want to talk about the grooming of our military, the grooming to death of our country. These using the military that is right now 44 four-star generals and admirals serving foreign and domestic enemies. And I want to point out one major, well, I can say four-star General Garrett too. He was so absent in all of this, okay? He was so absent that it's, I think it's criminal how absent he was. And he's retired now. He didn't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole because he wanted to retire. And, you know, where are our heroes in high positions that will help our children? Right? Where are they? We pay taxes for, you know, their talk of keeping us safe, their talk of preventing terrorism, their talk of whatever they do, law enforcement, whatever. And they're just a criminal syndicate. Now, I'm not an anarchist. I've made that very clear, especially yesterday. I'm a Trinitarian. I'm a one and the many. I'm not an anarchist. I believe that we need a Department of Defense. We do need a government, maybe not a federal government, but we need very strong state governments that can act together. We don't need a one world government. God help us. We do not need that. It's so ripe for corruption, just like this federal government is so ripe for corruption. And the main corruption is the money laundering, the taxing us for services not rendered. Okay, it goes way back to the Tea Party, right? Where taxation without representation. They are taxing us without delivering. They are violating their deal, their end of the bargain. We are paying them to defend this country and to train towards the creed, to train towards esprit de corps, to train towards be all you can be. You know, that's they're bringing back this old slogan to try to renew it, because they are anything but being all you can be. What they're doing is they're grooming our soldiers, grooming them to death. And so they're not abiding by their end of the deal of defending the Constitution, the land, and the people, and creating a esprit de corps, Medal of Honor ethos fighting force, and restraining any kind of criminal activity in the military. They're not doing that. They're fostering criminal activity. They're greenlighting criminal activity. They're participating in criminal activity, and they've even committed crimes against humanity. And so they haven't They haven't met their bargain. Why are we still giving them our all? Our all. We give them our all. And they're not defending us. They're using our dimes. They're using our goodwill. They're using our volunteer sons and daughters in the service of foreign and domestic enemies to be up to no good, to do no good, not what they're meant to do. And so, Richard, this is fraud, waste, and abuse. I'm reporting fraud, waste, and abuse. And Richard did not join the military to be groomed into a sex cult, to witness the military participating in child sex trafficking and child porn production and covering up for them while not defending the true heroes. And I also want to talk about this new death. This new death to absolutely prove what I'm talking about, which is, this Fort Hood soldier found dead after telling family about sexual harassment. And I've been told by several female soldier found dead at Fort Hood. The same army has been in Texas where Vanessa Guillen was murdered. Absolutely. And LULAC, thank you very much. LULAC, your demands outside investigation into Fort Hood soldier's death. So thank you to LULAC for coming to her defense. We need all the help we can get for our soldiers. And I think LULAC was also instrumental in getting the word out for Vanessa Guillen. So that is good news that people are rallying around this soldier that was, for sure, groomed in a very criminal. She was hijacked. She was hijacked by our 44 four-star generals and admirals that have not done their duty and are serving foreign and domestic enemies. So we know that. And she was definitely a hostage. She didn't join the army to be sexual harassed, right? And especially after Vanessa Guillen. Because they should have clicked those heels together. Let me tell you, the one thing we learned about the whole COVID thing was that these government, whatever they are, they can click heels together real quick to get done what they want to get done. Without, they don't give me this. They cared about the health, the lives of our soldiers. They don't. There was a political end to their clicking the heels together for the COVID. Okay. Pretty profitable end to why they were doing it. So this proved to me beyond any kind of reasonable doubt that we have been, our defense, our whole DOD, along with the DOJ, the Department of Justice, the Department of Defense, the FBI, were hijacked and by enemies, controlled by enemies, foreign and domestic, and that our service members, all our service members, even in the FBI, you have so many employees in those agencies, and either they absolutely know what's going on, but they've seen what has happened to whistleblowers, so they dare not say anything for fear of retaliation. They have no recourse. They know that they have no recourse. Look, in this case with Richard, we have had no recourse except for to be public, okay, to be on social media, and and to and if I we need to be more public, absolutely more public. So anyway, so they have no recourse, and I think there's people in the FBI. I know of one really great guy that went to go serve in the FBI. And, I just feel like if you are not fully aware of what is going on, then your psyops has been used against you to be like in a matrix, or you've been hypnotized to not see things the way they truly are. Because if we were about the health of the country, we would have clean water. Okay, if nuclear weapons were as dangerous as they say they are, I know bombs are dangerous. I'm not saying bombs aren't dangerous, but look at Fukushima, look at Chernobyl, the aftermath, what's going on there now. We've been lied to. If we have to fear China building on the far side of the moon, some kind of space station, pointing weapons down at us, then what's going on with this whole moon thing that we pour billions and billions and trillions of dollars into, and we get nothing? What we get, Velcro, and the moon is not even solid, right? We're being lied to on every front to be fear mongered and groomed and hypnotized and psyops used against us. And it's and I'm calling it out because the truth has to get out there, right? The truth has to get out there. And we are involved in this country and with the people in high places. Sorry, y'all. Absolutely in high places in child sex trafficking and child porn production. And someone has to say it. And Richard did. Richard reported it. And Richard is now missing. Because there's no recourse. There's just retaliation. He was severely retaliated. And I don't think that was enough for them. They did not want him to leave. He was in his 4th month of chaptering, part of the retaliation. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. He's a distinguished honor graduate for basic training in AIT. They have nothing. Not one thing on Richard. And they want to say, oh, underage drinking. I want to laugh at them. Do not insult us with underage drinking. Okay? Do not insult us. So they have nothing. And we have debunked everything that they have tried to put out. And the lies keep pouring out. Of course, the leaks. And now we have the CID and the FBI file numbers of proof that there were concerns in the Hart family of child sex trafficking and child porn. And I don't understand how that all was handled. And I can't be the judge of that. Because what I'm hearing that were in those files, it's bad, y'all. It is bad. It involves the rape of children. And yeah. So why is video missing? Why is video tampered with? That doesn't even scare me because everything's in the cloud. If those were all airdropped and, technology, it can be very handy. And in this case, it is because it's all in the cloud. If it was on Richard's phone, if it was on other people's phones that we know it was on, it's all in the cloud. So, yeah. I have this Miguel Delgado Jr. He was the CBP agent, the Department of Customs and Border Protectors, that recently has been arrested for, I think he was a little rough with someone detained at the border. And I thought that was very interesting to talk about. I don't want to be his judge because I think that they, they're always trying to go after the wrong people. But I think that article was very interesting, and I should have posted the whole article, but it was about being a little bit rough with a detainee. And I think that Richard's civil rights at the border were absolutely, when you self report, you just want to make a U turn. Um, I think he was also a victim of his civil rights being violated. So that's just a little point I wanted to make because of that. Death by military grooming. Um, yeah, so they want to groom this is what this podcast is called. They want to groom our military, our volunteer sons and daughters with fear of the boogeyman, fear of some that other countries are after us, um, and 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 then they find out that we're there for the resources, and they're like, oh my gosh, we're killing millions of people for their resources and stuff like this, um, you know, and then they go on PTSD, and then we have an uptick in suicides, and then we have a major uptick in rapes, then we have a major uptick in sexual harassment, then we have a major uptick in child abuse and child sex trafficking, and then child porn, um, and child porn production. And then we have an uptick in violent crimes, and then we have a major uptick in using illegal drugs, and the barracks become a marketplace for illegal drugs. We have the defector that was trained in El Paso. His 2 years and 1 month spent in El Paso, or at least 2 years in El Paso. He probably did basic training somewhere else, maybe Fort Sill. Um, and he said the whole post, all you did was drink, and he was 18 years old. I just want to make that clear. Was drinking and whores, um, and prostitutes. I don't know the difference between whores and prostitutes. Someone can explain that to me. I don't know. Maybe I don't want to be informed on that. But yeah. And then we have, oh yeah, that's pretty interesting. You have to read that one. Um, and then Lindsey Graham. Ooh, I spelled his name wrong on here. I forgot the D in Lindsey. Okay, so Lindsey Graham, who is very evil, very big warmonger. But I don't think I've ever seen him fight in a war, right? But he loves to send groom our um, sons and daughters into wanting to uh, go and kill people and everything like that. For what? For what? And then get blown up. And then this whole Ukraine thing, it's a mess. Oh gosh, we need to get to the truth. I don't know if we'll ever get to the truth on that. And then this right here, I'm going to use my phone to read this. It's Sean Bernabe. Sean Bernabe, groomer in chief, cover up in chief, lapdog for McConville, in his crimes against humanity. And he was in charge of find Richard Halliday at Fort Bliss, and was awarded with a 3rd star and sent to Fort Hood, and now is doing a press conference about this young female soldier, because whose bright idea was to make the barracks co-ed. Okay, people need to understand this. The barracks are co-ed, and you know what they do? They go, oh, they got pressured by the woke people. No, we're talking about 44 4-star generals and admirals that are supposed to be trained in the art of war, right? Which means they understand the how humans respond, can be manipulated, can be kept from, let's say, they understand how to create esprit de corps or how to destroy esprit de corps. Okay? And porn is like right on top for destroying esprit de corps. And sexual harassment, sexual rape, all of that. You do not put 9 to 1, 9 male soldiers in with 1 female soldier. You do not put 400 Marines with 1 female Marine soldier, 400 male Marines to 1 female soldier, and say, okay, you either keep body count because we're going to visit you and have our way with you, or you're going to be raped. Okay? Now, that was reported to me. You can say whatever you want. Whose bright idea of these 44 four-star generals, why didn't they, and admirals, why didn't they fight for the females coming into the military that they say they love so much? That they have this big campaign, recruiting campaign, to recruit our daughters into the military, and yet they subject them to grooming for rape, grooming for sexual harassment, tell them to shut up, remember what happened to Asia Graham. She reported the rape, and her captain told her to shut up. This is what I was told from a very good source. And not only did he tell her to shut up, but he put the rapist 2 doors down from her in the barracks, so that every time she left her barracks room, she had a chance of seeing him. And it caused a lot of anxiety, a lot of problems. She died of a fentanyl-laced medication. Okay? Fentanyl-laced medication. This is all under Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe, who got the 3rd star. Okay? And he said in late November, this is 2020. When I say, and I should have put that up there right here, this was 2020. In late November 2020, he launched an investigation into the 1st Battalion, 43rd Defense Regiment. The findings of that investigation should be available soon, he said. As for Halliday, the Major General, now he's a Lieutenant General, said U.S. Army Criminal Investigative Command special agents have issued 50 subpoenas. By now it's up to 80, and have conducted more than 160 interviews. Our efforts here at Fort Bliss will continue and will not stop. Well, he stopped it real quick. And Richard is in cold case. And we have the CID just recently, I think a week old now, CID and FBI numbers of certified complaints to them about child sex trafficking, child sex porn, and now we have Dallas Hart calling because, I asked him right off the bat. I said, I thanked him for calling. Thank you very much for calling. Reaching out finally, day 965, I think it was. Now it's day 968. And I said, are you aware that there are allegations that you murdered my son? Okay. That's what's coming towards us. That's coming to us. Allegations that he murdered my son. And he said, yeah, he knew that there were those allegations. Why is he now? That allegation has been going on for a long time, y'all. And he's just now calling us. And he's very calm. So he says his mom is lying. His mom is crazy. And someone is lying. I don't know if he's lying. I don't know if it's his mom that's lying. I'm not saying that. Yeah. In those CID and FBI reports, they were made by her. So this is all connected. I'm not saying that he's the one that murdered my son. I'm saying that those are the allegations. He's saying that he wasn't there, that he was deployed. But we have not gotten one letter, official letter, that says Dallas Hart was officially deployed. Okay? No, we got a handwritten little travel voucher. Travel vouchers have not been handwritten for years, for way over, I think, way over a decade, they have not been handwritten. So that is curious. And then he also said that he did not know Corinne Adeline West's daughter, uh, Deborah Sarah West, that he was getting flight lessons from. He said that didn't happen. I wasn't getting flight lessons. But then we have James coming on to our live stream saying, yeah, Deborah, Corinne's daughter was teaching Dallas flight lessons. And we got that from other people as well. So we haven't gotten an official signed letter with, to let us know. We haven't gotten any after action report, even though we had 15 plus agencies coming together where we told them about the leaks. And, it was not even, they didn't even have an op board. Nobody even had an order to do anything, even though they were there. Okay, so it was a staged task force by Richard Halliday. And that's why we're looking to Veronica Escobar now, because she has oversight. And here he is, Bernabe, saying he cares about our soldiers and harassment is not allowed. But he has, okay, I hereby say that we have been harassed. All right? We have been harassed. So, in the pursuit of trying to find our son. So let's see what I say, what was reported. Patricia Halliday, mother of Richard Halliday, said she is pleased with an investigation into the leadership on post. I was very interested to see what the findings would be, because it was about the racketeering. It was about, And this is before we knew about the child porn, about the child protective service complaint, about the videos that Richard turned in. When families are worried about their soldiers just being on base with their commanders, that is very sad, she said. Very sad. Very, very evil. We owe it to every family and every service member until every soldier is found. And he doesn't want Richard found. He made that very clear by participating in that stage task force by Richard Halliday. So I think that's criminal. And he was awarded a 3rd star, okay? And absolutely criminal in that. Because taking advantage of I was so naive, taking advantage of families' goodwill, taking advantage of their lack of knowledge when it comes to how the military operates. Praise God that my husband knows. And even then, you are so brainwashed or in hypnosis that it takes a while for your hypnosis to be washed away, and absolutely in this. So let me read this to you. I want to get a little closer to the pictures. So Bernabe, Lieutenant General Bernabe of Fort Hood, presiding over the death of this soldier, says harassment of any type is contrary to the Army values, he said. Harassment destroys the cohesion of our teams and it erodes our readiness. Harassment is unacceptable. We do not tolerate harassment. That is a bold-faced lie. I got to get this up. Whoops. Hold on, everybody. I need to get me a new one of these. That is a bold-faced lie, everybody. Okay? And I'll tell you why. Because I know for a fact that Austin Hawk was being harassed. I know for a fact that Vanessa Guillen was being harassed. I know for a fact that Richard was being harassed. I know for a fact. Okay? I know for a fact many soldiers were being harassed. And I know Asia Graham was being harassed. What do you call it when your captain puts your rapist 2 doors down from you, okay, in the barracks. What do you call that? All right. They have no recourse. What do you call soldiers that are, or service members that do not want to be injected by aborted baby parts? Okay? They do not want to be injected by things that are not clearly tested. And they put in a complaint or they put in an exemption, and they are continuously harassed. Absolutely, that is the biggest bold face lie. I can't believe he said that. It's just like, disgusting. Disgusting. And no esprit de corps. No esprit de corps. They all, like they go to charm school to charm the media into writing these fake narratives. One lie after the next. My mom said she wanted to throw up. Any leader on the installation has a responsibility to take action if they find out about such harassment, if they find out about it through a report, formal or informal, and they will take action. That goes all the way up to me, and I take it very seriously. You don't take anything seriously except for your next star. You want the fourth star. That's all. You wanted the 3rd star. You want the 4th star. That's all you want, and you want the nice whatever comes after. And I can say that with conviction because we have 20,000 children at Fort Bliss under guess who? Burnaby, unaccounted for. Okay, that started with that. How many children are unaccounted? We have reports that are certified to the CID, to the FBI. How serious did they take those reports? How seriously did they take the reports of the IG being all over the barracks because of Halliday, because of reports to the Child Protective Services? Sorry, it's not about, a spanking. Richard would not report for a spanking. Richard would not have sex videos that he turned in and make Child Protective Service complaints and be so emotional and say, I'd rather burn my money than spend it on whores and blow. Whores and blow was going on. And they got bored with that, and they turned over to the child sex trafficking and the child pornography. They were getting bored, and you see that even with the sex cults. They get bored, and they have to add doggy masks. They have to add leather whips and all kinds of sex cult paraphernalia in the art. We had a colonel showing his erection in uniform in our on our installation in our buildings. That is a national security threat. Fraud, waste, and abuse. A breaking of our faith. And we have so much crime going on. We are trillions of dollars in debt because of not paying overprice and not having our agencies deliver. They're not delivering. They're working for foreign and domestic enemies on our dime. On our dime. And our soldiers, our service members have no recourse but to go and fling themselves into a helicopter tail wing rotor and kill themselves. This is crazy. And you know about the Brandon bill. You know about Brandon. And what do they say? Their big excuse, oh, it's suicide. That's why the suicide rates are going up, because that's one of their go-tos. It's like, oh, it's a virus. That's one of their go-tos, so they're not liable, right, for their toxins. Because if they really cared about us, they would make sure that we had clean water, clean air, clean food, and plenty of it for very cheap. Very cheap. And there's no excuse in this country to have cheap, clean water, clean energy, clean air, clean food, and plenty of food cheap. Cheap. No excuse. We're being railroaded in every area and lied to and manipulated. And we have a soldier that goes missing, and what do? They cry, they shake, they go behind the scenes and collude and conspire and decide to do a smear campaign, a groundless smear campaign that's so absurd that everyone that knows Richard would call it absurd. And then we have to fight for months and months and months to debunk everything and convince people that this is a smear campaign. And we had Corinne Adeline West going behind our scenes, participating in that smear with many more. And what do? They call me delusional, one that knew Richard. And I'm like, are you kidding me? If he was everything you said, it would be like, wow, Richard, you really learned quick. Whoa, that grooming really happened quick. It was just the most absurd smear campaign, but it worked on the Anthony Swafford, the military police soldier right there at Fort Bliss, because the senior leader, maybe leaders, came, because it had to have been powerful to convince him, because I think he's a nice guy, right? He's a family man. I think he is concerned with his children, and they see so much evil that they get mad. They get mad at the evil. But what happened is he was brainwashed. What happened was he was hypnotized by the senior leader standing up at the military police guard mount where he was at during the change of shift. And Richard was groundlessly smeared, and he took it to heart. Not only was he not respectful to us, to communicate to us why he went on social media there on the housing social media to convince people that were handing out flyers, putting up flyers for us, not to do that for this missing soldier. Now that is grooming to death, because that shows a lack of esprit de corps. That shows no Medal of Honor ethos. So that's coming from a military police soldier. He is not being trained from that guard mount to have another soldier 6, to have justice, to know what even justice is. Find our missing soldier. Then we can see what happened. That's not what he was told. He went out and tried to sabotage the search for Richard, telling people he didn't have a good enough character to even find. Now, I think that is totally Darwinian. It is a survival of the fittest. It is absolutely racist flavor. Just by talk, you can decide that a soldier is not worth finding. Leave him out there to be eaten by crows. Because I know, because my senior leader stood on the guard mount at change of shift and told me so. Now, that is a 4-star problem. That is a lack of training to the nth degree. Because I'm a mother of 4. You need to take care of your sister. You need to take care of your brother. Right? So, all of this narrative, don't believe it. I know a lot of you don't believe it anymore. But it's not even worth the paper or the words. The words are just hot air coming from these very evil demons wearing our beautiful uniforms with stars on it. He's a 3-star. And he was in charge of Richard's case. And this guy too. They're just evil. I just can't. Yeah. Okay, so let's get out of this. And let's go to the map. So this is Albuquerque. This is where we're looking. That's a golf course, but we're looking for a ranch here, y'all. A ranch that has a sign. It probably is not there anymore, but it does. You can go and see some pictures of some buildings that are there. It's on Find Richard Halliday. It's on Telegram. And we're looking for a ranch, Farnsworth Racing. It's connected with Farnsworth. Farnsworth is a very big Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints family. They have stakes all over here. They're big-time business. They're very good in business. And, of course, they're involved in breeding horses, racing horses, housing horses, training horses, you name it. And they're involved in all kinds of stuff. They have all kinds of business. Farnsworth is very, very established in this area. This is where that blue truck was that had shaved handles and was a lowrider in front of Farnsworth Racing. Why would Farnsworth Racing want a truck with shaved handles and a lowrider, totally customized? And that is owned. Well, we have the license plate and all that. Very interesting. Just because God is good, when you try to sell a vehicle, you take pictures and stuff like that. Anyway, there's not too many Ram trucks, Dodge Ram trucks, this color. That's a lowrider with mags, with shaved handles. There's not too many of them. So we're looking for that ranch. That is really important in this case. And we're also looking for, and the thing is we have a lot of people that are angry, that are naysaying, especially about Corinne, especially about this other group, especially about, why are you talking about the 44 4-star generals and admirals? Because that's where the problem is. That's where the problem is, because the problem is systemic. It's not just there at Fort Bliss. We're talking about Fort Hood. We're talking about Fort Bragg. We're talking about Fort Stewart. We're talking about Camp Pendleton. They caught Marines human trafficking at Camp Pendleton into Tijuana. Now, I have some questions about that too, because I'm starting to put everything together, and this is really dangerous because there are definitely links to all of this, and there's links to all of these people in Richard's case. Okay, there's links. We have a big spider chart showing how people are related and how they're, and it's just shocking. That's what's shocking, is that it's a big group. And if if they wanted to get to the bottom of it, they would produce Richard's body. They would produce Richard. And they've done everything they could to thwart the finding of Richard's body and the whereabouts of Richard. And what do I mean by that? The 4-star general conducting a staged task force find Richard Halliday, not getting down to the business of giving us official paperwork. And also the father-in-law of Lieutenant Colonel Bugado in the G3 of the 32nd ADCOM that says he's with the FBI. We think he's an FBI informant that says that the FBI were there in Juarez, Mexico, looking for the remains of Richard and found the remains of Richard, and Richard is dead. Shh, shh. That's what this is, that's what this is about. And they tell us, oh no, he's just some guy. It took us months to find out who he is. He's not just some guy. G3 are the wedding planners. G3 are the ones that make the op ords. They're the ones that give the orders for General Clem Coward. Another connection between Leilani Hart, Dallas Hart, and Richard Halliday. Where is the letters? Where is the response from Major General Clem Coward? Why did they remove him there and put him in charge of the rape thing there in Washington, D.C.? And now he's retired. Why did they spread out the entire unit? They just sent them all over the world. If they really cared, after 3 beheadings, after Vanessa Guillen. You would think that they would want a win-win. They would want to find Richard and they would make the military look good, make the CID look good after that disaster there at Fort Hood. But they did not do that. So we have this lead, of course, with Albuquerque coming down over through here's Sunland Park. You can see it by that the racetracks right there, where you know when you look around, there's like this body here. I know it's probably not a body, but they never told us it wasn't a body. It's kind of too big to be a body. I don't know. It's just creepy when you see that, when you're looking things up. It's just creepy, especially when people aren't communicating with you officially. They want to do everything on a phone call. I don't want to do things on a phone call. Okay. I want them to send us a letter with all the reports of the findings of these 15 plus agencies that were never given an order to do anything. I want an official report telling us why there's no results to these certified CID FBI complaints on child sex trafficking, on child abuse, on child porn. Why weren't there any results? Where is the report saying what Richard complained about to the Child Protective Services that triggered the IG being all over the barracks because of Halliday? Right? What were in these porn videos that Richard turned in? Who was in them? Why are all of these people connected? What is going on with the father-in-law of the G3, Lieutenant Colonel Bugado, in the 32nd ADCOM, Richard's command, saying he's dead. Shh. And is the FBI hiding the remains of our son that they were looking for, that we called the Department of State there in Juarez, our contact there, and saying, were the FBI looking for Richard's remains during that time? And he said, yes. Why can't we get an official report on that? Why can't we get an official report on the canines? Okay? A true report with, the name of the dog, the name of the handler. Why can't we get that? Why can't they be transparent to show off what they can do? Don't tell me it's a national security risk or it's a risk to those people. No, because they would do it in a heartbeat if they were on the up and up. They're not on the up and up. They're not on the up and up. And that's why so many of us know. That's why they're having a recruiting problem. That's why they have a retention problem. And that's why we have failure in Afghanistan, failure in Iraq, failure in Syria, failure in Ukraine, failure everywhere for us, the good-minded people that want to America to succeed. Okay, it's a failure. But if you know that they're working for foreign and domestic enemies against us, then they are succeeding, you see. They are succeeding on grooming our military, grooming to death. So we're paying for our own death because they have been using psyops, they've been using hypnosis, they've been using every power that their trillions of dollars that they have gotten, that our trust into them, to use it to destroy us. That's why the fentanyl is pouring over. That's why there's so much child porn. That's why there's so much porn. That's why they attacked our economy. That's why there's bank failures. That's why, you could go on and on and on with the PTSD, with the suicides, with the rapes, with the sexual assault, our society, the culture of our society diminishing. Our children being harassed. They are pros at harassing. They continuously harass. That is their game. That is part of their psyops, is to harass. We've been harassed continuously and severely during this whole search for our son. Lying is harassment. Faking is harassment. And they do it, you have to understand, they're the worst type of criminals because they go to charm school. So they charmingly, in charm school, learn how to charmingly harass you. Okay? They go to charm school. I have to make this really, really clear. They go to charm school and learn how to, in a charming way, destroy you. I'm going to go to any questions now. I wanted to show you this border again. This is the Santa Teresa port of entry. Now we were at, I don't think oops. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I wanted to show you the temple, because if you are a Mormon and you want to go to temple, you go to temple once a week, maybe go twice a week, maybe go twice a month. I don't know how often you go to temple, but during the COVID, you could get over here. You have to go over here because there's no temples on the American side. There's no temples in Fort Bliss and El Paso. Okay, I don't know why. You have to cross the border to get there. And this is the temple right there in the city of Juarez. Ciudad Juarez. And I think you can even, I think you can even go inside. Hold on. Yeah. You can even get a picture. Yeah. So here's the temple there. in Juarez, beautiful temple, and you have to travel over there regularly. They travel over regularly. If you travel regularly over the border through the ports of entry, you meet people, especially if you're in law enforcement. Especially if you do law enforcement and you belong to law enforcement groups, you get to know the customs and border protectors that are at these ports of entry. And if you're a regular person, you can come through. If you're coming through for the horses, that's just right here. This is the ring. Um, let's see if they have the pictures. No, maybe they don't. I looked at that the other day, but this is the ring. This is very interesting ring here in this case. Okay, I'm just going to tell you, and that is just, you can come over with your horses. You could go over to the temple. No problem. No problem. Okay, what is this one? This one is the temple. This is the ring. What do I have over here? Why did I see 3? Oh, no, that was the airport. Okay, and then if you came through this port of entry that's at question, and you came down this road from the OXO, I should have pinpointed the OXO. Here's the OXO. And I'll go down there. I think this is really interesting. So you're coming down this road here by the aqua park. That right above the aqua park, and look at, they're checking every time it's something different. I wonder what they're checking. Here is the OXO. And this is a known area. Wow. This is different this time. Right? That's Mexican military right there. Maybe they're checking for child sex trafficking. Maybe. You don't know. But anyway, you would come down this road because right up this road is the port of entry. So you drive down. So if I go, I know this area pretty well now. Here's a port of entry. Here's New Mexico. Here's U.S. Customs and Border. You're coming through here. You know these people. You have your trailer. Your wave through. Real easy. Especially if they know you. And you turn here at the OXO to go towards Juarez. And where does that lead you? That leads you to this very interesting area. This is kilometer 30, which is and this is kilometer 29, kilometer 30, kilometer 29, and you can see that right here, kilometer 29, see, and this here is kilometer 30. So these are areas of interest in finding Richard's body, because we were told that Richard's body was dumped in this area. So here is a ranch for horses, because horses are part of this. And this is the only ranch in the area. And it happens to be right across the street from an orphanage, like a so-called orphanage, or a place where you would shelter children. This is also a child shelter here. So, so you have this area here as an orphanage, this here as a child shelter. We can even go down there so you can see it. And here's the child shelter. Interesting that it's way out here, and not in the city. And in an area that's known for dumping bodies. Okay. So here is the child shelter. Here is, they call it a hospital, but when you go and look at it, you can go look that up. It's like some kind of volunteer orphanage. And then here's the ranch. And then right down here is another one. Is another orphanage, which is, absolutely shocking. So 2 orphanages and a child shelter. And you can see this. Casa Hogar, Bethel. And, see nothing, right? We see nothing. And this is where they led us to, and here is the temple. And then if you, let's see, do this. I'm starting to get decent at this. And if you come to this area, there's another, of course, where Mitt Romney's father was born. This is the temple. The second temple that's in this area. Oh gosh, this is a winter picture where it snowed. Here's the temple. Oh, that's odd picture, isn't it? Anyway, let's see if we can. This one is probably green. There's a green one. So here's the other temple. Okay. And very nice area. It's so beautiful there. Oh my goodness. And then if you come up here, this is where the Academia Juarez is. It is a boarding school. It's very beautiful. And they have everything there. There it is. Academia Juarez opened in 1904. So that's a boarding school. And I'm just saying, why don't they help us? Why don't they help us? Because so many people involved in this are Mormons. And if you know people, maybe you can get the word out. That's why I'm showing you all of this. We need to get the word out. We need to find out what happened to Richard. That's where they say, oh, this is another area that I didn't show you. I just noticed it. This is the Ruidoso Downs. Which is another place of interest because it's all the horse racing. It's a beautiful area. Yep. So we're looking in this area too for, that's just, I guess, a run there. It's I haven't ever went to a horse race before, so I'm not very familiar with it. But I know that this case, that's a big deal. That's a big deal because you can use horse trailers to transport more than just horses. And, we need that all investigated. And so, of course, this leads me to let's see. I want to open this up. The big thing, and that is Escobar. I forgot to talk about Escobar, and I really wanted to talk about Escobar in this case. So let's open this up. I think she's up here. And let's turn this on. I think this is really worth it.
I agree with Mrs. Halliday that there needs to be an independent outside third party. Together we're going to look into what we need to do in order to involve the FBI.
Congresswoman Veronica Escobar calling for an independent investigation into Fort Bliss soldier Richard Halliday's disappearance. He has been missing for more than 2 months.
That's
October. The Congresswoman joined the Halliday
2020,
family today at a rally where she announced that she would be working to involve the FBI to look at the possibility of foul play. As we've reported, the soldier's mother, Patricia Halliday, does believe there was foul play in her son's disappearance.
I do believe there's foul play.
She says recently a young woman called her, and that woman telling her she saw another soldier in possession of Richard Halliday's credit.
Let's listen to that from the beginning one more
I agree
time.
with Mrs. Halliday that there needs to be an independent outside third party. Together we're going to look into what we need to do in order to involve the FBI.
Congresswoman Veronica Escobar calling.
Okay. I wanted to play that because right now she gets an F minus minus. F minus minus. Okay. Anyway. I'll take some questions now. My gosh, 266. Oh, no, that's something different. Sorry. Okay, Danielle, thank you so much again. Just to be transparent, I have been receiving friend requests from others on the imposter site, the Real Fine Richard Halliday cyber bullies. Not sure why. Yeah. They went so low to send me a made-up friend request by someone I know. Just changed the name a little bit. Even copied the picture of my brother that is no longer alive to send me a fake friend request. They are freaking losers and walking with the devil, in my opinion. Not sure why they don't come on here and show their faces. Well, we were getting so harassed that they weren't being helpful and they would dominate the comment section. And they don't say that. They don't say that they would dominate the comment section with talk of tacos and enchiladas and, just try to put whatever up there. And so it would hurt anybody else that wanted to comment. They were trying to sabotage even the comment section. So those individuals from the other site can keep trying to derail us looking for Richard Halliday. Guess what, evildoers? And we're getting very close because there has to be some kind of response to why the CID, why the FBI have leaked and everything, and we are not getting a third party. Why we are not getting, they have to relinquish their jurisdiction. We need to have a different agency, different method. Absolutely, Veronica Escobar needs to do something. Otherwise, she is showing everybody that she doesn't care about soldiers. And at this point, with all of this new information, way more information than in that video, in this video here, this picture here, you have to remember, we did not know about the Child Protective Service complaints at that time. We did not know about the sex videos at this time. We did not know about Leilani Hart at this time. We did not know about Tavita Nusa, this special agent CID at Fort Bliss at the time. Okay, this was they were just trying to derail us. That's a good word, Danielle. And we have had the same thing. For example, we have had absolute proof that Corinne Adeline West has some kind of authority in accessing files. Why would she want to access Richard's adoption file and then use what she finds in a negative sense, right? To bully us, or to pass around for others to bully us behind the scenes to other people, to spread lies. We never hid Richard. We were very proud of Richard. We showed Richard off. We wouldn't hide him. And we're law abiding. We would never hide him. And those kind of things were said to people. People were getting bullied behind the scene not to help us. And yeah, it's terrible. So if any one of these lives have been receiving random, lots of them have been receiving it. I'm going to tell you, there's been lots of people that I'm still in contact with that I'll cancel that are no longer on there in the public because of all the harassing, my mother included. I have received some weird friend requests. Thanks for the information. Thanks, Grace. Thank you so much. And Fort Hood again fails our soldiers. Another woman killed there. Was she killed? Was she killed? Groomed to death? Sexually harassed to death? It's so hard to stay calm, but we need to stay calm. We need to stay focused. We need to put those questions out there. Why is there a tie between the LDS, the horses, this LGBTQ group, the Hart family? Why are the Hart family in the disappearance of our son? Why is the Hart family reporting and even certifying complaints of child sex abuse, child porn, child trafficking within the family? Why are they fighting each other? Who's telling the truth? Because Leilani Hart certified her complaints. And then they just say, oh, we cleared you? I don't understand that. And then why don't we get from the military a full after action report of Dallas Hart's participation in this, with his family's participation in this, to clear him, to help us? They're harassing us by not giving us official statements in writing, sending it to us, and then we get all of this information through text messages and phone messages that are absolutely horrifying, because they fill in so many of the puzzle pieces, and we're like, wow, what? Yeah, they don't want to be caught in anything written down. Well, now they have been, because we have the numbers of the CID and the FBI files. And so they have to respond somehow. And that's why we got the call. That's why we got messages. That's why we're getting the attention again and the threats again. And all we want is to find our son. And all they can say is horrible things about our son. And I'm like, I don't care. Find him, and then you can say horrible things. Okay? Find him first, and then you can say horrible things. Because I don't think they'll be able to say horrible things when they find him. I don't think so. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for coming on. And please please share this information. James, thank you so much for the other day coming on. That was brilliant. And yeah. Thank you so much. Okay. God bless everybody. And I will be back